I just faced my own worst nightmare. The HOA president kicked in my lake cabin door with the attorney general sitting at my table. And her reason? She said they were just doing an immediate compliance check. Funny thing is, the only thing compliant that day was her scheme collapsing on camera in front of everyone. Let me start from the beginning. My name is Liam O'Connell. The coffee in my mug is cold. Has been for an hour. Across the small pine table, Michigan's attorney general, a man named Grant, sips his own. He looks tired but focused. He holds a file thick with my last 6 months. Forged liens, phony violation notices, endless, grinding harassment. Every page aimed at stealing this cabin, the last piece of my grandpa I have left. This little box of wood and memories on the shore of Lakeshore Pines is my ground zero. Grant closes the file. He looks me in the eye. He finally seems to believe it. He draws a breath to start the engine of justice, and the front door doesn't open. It explodes. The frame splinters. The lock whistles across the room and buries itself in the drywall. Coffee jumps, rings widening on the table. Get out of this house now. Vacate. She says it as the dust blooms. Standing in the ruined doorway, silhouetted against the bright Michigan morning, is Eleanor Vance. Pink polo, pressed khakis, HOA badge clipped to her belt, clipboard raised like a weapon. Her eyes are 2 chips of ice. She is the self-appointed queen of this community. To me, she's just a thief with a title. I don't stand. I set my mug down and let her stare bounce off me. Predators hate it when prey doesn't run. 2 township officers hover on the threshold behind her. She dragged them here on a welfare check. Hands on belts, just watching. They look like they eat rocks for breakfast. Eleanor's voice cuts through the quiet cabin. It is loud, sharp, and full of a power she thinks she owns. Liam O'Connell. This is a notice of immediate compliance inspection. She takes a step inside, her shoes grinding on the debris of my door. Her eyes sweep the room, cataloging everything. Then she sees him. She sees the Attorney General of the state of Michigan sitting at my table. Grant doesn't stand. Blue suit, steady eyes. He just folds his hands. For a single, beautiful moment, Eleanor Vance freezes. The absolute certainty on her face cracks. A flicker of something real, something like fear, shows through. The 2 rock eaters behind her stop, confused. They look at her for guidance. The clipboard lowers a fraction of an inch. I do not freeze. I take a slow sip of my cold coffee. I watch the gears turn behind her eyes. I have seen this look before in places far from here. It is the look of a predator who has just realized the nice, juicy rabbit it was about to eat is actually a bear trap. The AG slowly places his hands flat on the table. He does not look shocked. He looks grimly satisfied, like I just proved his darkest suspicions correct. Ma'am, he says, his voice dangerously calm. You have a warrant to enter this residence? Eleanor recovers fast. She is intelligent. I will give her that. The fear is gone, replaced by a sneer. She puffs out her chest. A warrant? I am the president of the Lakeshore Pines HOA. My authority comes from the bylaws. Article 7, Section 4. Unrestricted access for compliance verification. She says it like she is reciting Holy Scripture. I almost laugh. She thinks her little book of rules is more powerful than state law. She thinks her made-up title makes her a god. I know what she really is. She is a cornered animal. For months, she has been squeezing me, trying to force me out. The fake fines for the length of my grass, the citations for the color of my boat cover, the lien she filed with a forged signature, claiming I owed thousands in special assessment fees for a new community garden that was never built. My grandfather built this cabin with his own 2 hands in 1960. He left it to me. He did not leave it to her. I spent my life in dusty, dangerous places so people back home could be safe, so they could believe in things like law and order. And I come home to this, a petty tyrant trying to steal a dead man's legacy with a clipboard and a smirk. Grant starts to stand up. Ma'am, I am the Attorney General, and I am telling you. He is cut off. A low hum fills the air. Then, with a sudden, final click, everything goes dark. At the threshold, the officers key their radios. Only static. A flash whites out the windows. Thunder slams the hill a breath later, and a pine by the road snaps like chalk, the trunk dropping across the drive with a wet crack. The only exit by land is gone. The house oaks, breath held. The officers glance back at the crushed lane and go a shade paler. We'll step outside to get a signal, one mutters, backing onto the porch as Eleanor's men push in. The lights are out. The refrigerator stops humming. My laptop screen on the counter goes black. I hear my wife, Clara, move in the next room. She is my partner in everything. She is the calm in my storm. I am already moving. My body knows this feeling. The sudden silence, the controlled environment. This is not a random power outage. I reach the window and pull back the curtain just enough. The morning sun glints off the water of my cove, and on that water sit 3 boats. They are pontoon boats, the kind people use for lazy Sunday afternoons. But they are not drifting. They are anchored, one at the mouth of the cove, 2 more spread out, forming a perfect blockade. They box me in. Eleanor Vance is not throwing a tantrum. She has not just made a mistake. I look back at her standing in my ruined doorway. A slow, cold smile spreads across her face. This was her plan all along. Later, we learned she filed a bogus noise complaint for 8 a.m. so the officers would arrive the second she kicked my door. She wanted the AG here. She wanted a witness to her power. Out on the lake, anchor lines draw a hard triangle across my cove. Bow toward the mouth, sterns fanned wide, canopies lowered to cut wind. Not a tantrum, a textbook interdiction. Someone coached them where to sit, how to box me in, how to make the state watch and do nothing. The power outage, the boats, the 2 goons. It is a show, a demonstration. She is declaring my little piece of heaven to be her sovereign territory. The state of Michigan can watch, but it cannot touch. I look at Grant. His face is a mask of disbelief. He came here to discuss a white-collar crime. He just walked into a hostage situation. I let the curtain fall back into place. Clara is at my side now. She does not need to ask. She knows. Comms. I ask, my voice low. Dead, she says. Cell, internet, everything. It's a jammer, military grade. Karen rented it through her husband's Shell security company. Gray market gear, no paperwork. I glance at Eleanor's triumphant smile. She thinks she has won. She thinks she has cut us off from the world, that she is the only authority that matters here. She just kicked in the wrong door. She just blockaded the wrong cove. She wanted a war. She has no idea what one looks like. She's about to find out. My grandfather was a simple man. He smelled like sawdust and lake water. He believed in 3 things: a firm handshake, a sharp tool, and the quiet dignity of a place you build yourself. This cabin was his masterpiece. Every plank, every nail was a testament to his hard work. He taught me how to fish on this dock. He taught me how to skip stones across the calm morning water. He told me this place was more than just a house. It was an anchor, a place to come back to, no matter how far you roamed. After he passed, I came back for good. I was done roaming. I brought my wife, Clara, here to find some peace. We fixed the roof. We stained the deck. We settled into the rhythm of the lake. For a year, it was perfect. Then Eleanor Vance was elected HOA president. At first, it was small things, a notice that my mailbox was 1 inch too low, a warning about unapproved native vegetation, which was the patch of wildflowers Grandpa had planted 50 years ago. I thought it was a joke, a woman with too much time on her hands. I was wrong. It was a test. She was probing for weakness, seeing who would push back and who would just obey. Most people obeyed. They were here for quiet weekends, not for a fight. They painted their fences the approved shade of beige. They took down their wind chimes. They paid the fines. They just wanted to be left alone. I could not do that. This was not just a weekend house for me. It was home. It was Grandpa's legacy. So I pushed back. I went to the HOA meetings. I quoted the bylaws back to her, the same ones she used as a weapon. I showed that her fines were baseless, that she was making up rules as she went along. That was my mistake. I did not make her back down. I just made myself her primary target. The war began. The fines escalated. She claimed my small fishing boat was a commercial vehicle and tried to ban it from the lake. She sent her compliance officers, the 2 beefy guys now standing in my living room, to measure the height of my grass at 6 o'clock in the morning. They would stand on my lawn with rulers, making a show of it for the whole neighborhood. We started documenting everything. Clara is a genius with technology. She set up a network of tiny security cameras hidden in birdhouses and tree knots. We recorded every visit, every threat, every whispered comment between her goons when they thought no one was listening. We have hours of footage. We have them talking about making it too expensive for the soldier boy to stay. We have them laughing about the bogus violations. Then came the big one, the forged lien. A document appeared at the county records office. It claimed I owed $20,000 for a shoreline stabilization project. It had my signature on it. A very good forgery, but a forgery nonetheless. I have not signed a single HOA document since she took over. I pay my regular dues by cashier's check, delivered by certified mail, so there is always a paper trail. This was her endgame. With a lien on the property, she could force a foreclosure. The HOA, under her complete control, could then buy the cabin for pennies on the dollar at auction. She was not just trying to annoy me into leaving. She was trying to steal my home using the color of law. That is when I called the state. It took weeks to get past the gatekeepers. But when I finally laid out the evidence for one of the junior attorneys, he went silent. The next day, Attorney General Grant called me himself. He told me they had other complaints from Lakeshore Pines, people who had lost their homes, people who were too scared to speak up. They saw the pattern, but they did not have the proof. They had victims, but no smoking gun. I had the gun. I had the recordings. I had the fraudulent document. I had the paper trail of my payments. I had a clear timeline of escalating, targeted harassment. Grant agreed to meet me here, at the cabin. He wanted to see the place for himself, to stand on the ground where the crimes were happening. He wanted to look me in the eye and decide if I was credible. I guess he decided I was, because now he is standing in my dark living room, a prisoner in a siege he came to investigate. Eleanor's voice is slick with fake concern. "Oh my," she says, looking around at the dark room. "Looks like a power failure. These old cabins have such shoddy wiring. It's a safety hazard. We'll have to add that to the inspection report." She is enjoying this, every second of it. She knows the AG is here. She knows we are cut off. She thinks she is untouchable. Clara's voice is a whisper next to my ear. She didn't cut the main power line. The whole neighborhood would be out. She'd have a riot on her hands. I nod. She isolated us, found the junction box for this property, and cut it. This is methodical. Grandpa taught me 2 rules. Carry a spare blade, and don't trust a single line to hold. So, we built our own grid. Batteries on trickle charge, roof hatch for the drone, hardwired cams on their own loop, and Walt on old school HF when fancy radios fail. Not paranoia, practice. It is planned. It is a level of tactical thinking that you do not expect from an HOA president. She is not just a bully. She is a predator, a smart one. She has calculated the risk. She has decided that whatever the AG might try to do later, she can win right now. She can get what she wants, which is a reason to condemn this cabin and kick me out for good. My mind is racing, but on the outside, I am calm. I have been in worse spots. This is just another battlefield with different weapons. Instead of bullets and bombs, it is bylaws and blackouts. The goal is the same: survive, adapt, overcome. Eleanor takes another step into the room. Her goons follow. They are spreading out, trying to be intimidating. "Well," she says, her voice dripping with authority, "let's get on with this inspection, shall we?" She thinks this is her moment of triumph. She is wrong. We knew she would pull something like this eventually. We just did not know when. We hope for the best, but we plan for the worst. She thinks she has cut us off from the world. But Clara and I have our own world and our own way of fighting back. This is not the end of the story. This is just the end of the beginning. The trap is set, and Eleanor Vance just walked right into it. The 2 compliance officers, let's call them Tweedledee and Tweedledum, begin to move through my cabin. They move with a purpose that has nothing to do with building codes. Eleanor stands by the door, arms crossed, the queen observing her knights. She still has that smug look on her face. She thinks this is checkmate. Attorney General Grant is a statue of controlled fury. He knows he is a witness to a dozen different crimes happening all at once: illegal entry, unlawful detainment, intimidation. But he is a man of the law. His power comes from a courtroom, from warrants and judges. Grant stays put on purpose, better as a neutral witness than a participant until warrants land. Right now, his hands are tied. He is just a man in a suit in a dark room. My hands are not tied. This is my home. Clara slips away into the back bedroom, where we have our real command center. It is not much, just a couple of laptops, a bank of batteries we keep charged for emergencies, and a mess of wires. It is our digital fortress. I need to keep Eleanor and her goons occupied. I need to give Clara time to work her magic. I lean against the counter, making myself look relaxed, resigned even. "All right, Eleanor," I say, my voice flat. "You've had your fun. You kicked in my door. You cut my power. You're holding the Attorney General hostage. What's the point of this little inspection? Her eyes narrow. She doesn't like me talking to her like an equal. The point, Mr. O'Connell, is compliance. The point is ensuring this property meets the standards of our community. Standards you have ignored for too long. Tweedledee opens my refrigerator. He starts taking things out. A carton of milk. A head of lettuce. He is not inspecting it. He is searching. Tweedledum starts going through the drawers in the living room end table. He pulls out a stack of coasters and looks underneath them. What are you looking for? I ask. Unregistered modifications? Illegal throw pillows. Eleanor gives me a thin, nasty smile. We have received an anonymous tip, she says, her voice smooth as oil. A very credible tip that you were storing illegal substances on this property. Grant takes a sharp breath. I knew it. This is the end game. She is not here to measure my lawn. She is not here to check my wiring. She is here to plant evidence, to frame me for a crime that would get me thrown out of here for good. It is a classic move. Simple, dirty, effective. But we were ready for it. What Eleanor does not know is that this entire cabin is a stage, and she is the main performer. Every corner is covered by one of Clara's tiny cameras. The one in the smoke detector is getting a perfect view of Tweedledum at the fridge. The one in the bookshelf is watching Tweedledee rifle through my drawers. They are not just recording. They are streaming. Not to the internet. Of course, the jammer is blocking that. They are streaming on a closed internal network, a network that terminates in the back bedroom right where Clara is. I need to keep them talking. I need to make sure the cameras get good, clear audio. Illegal substances? I say, putting a little tremor of fear in my voice. What are you talking about? I'm a veteran. I don't do that stuff. Grant steps forward. Eleanor, this has gone too far. You are fabricating a criminal accusation. As an officer of the court, I am ordering you and your men to leave. Eleanor laughs, a short, ugly sound. You are a guest in my community, Mr. Grant, and you have no authority here right now. My men will conduct their search. If Mr. O'Connell is as innocent as he claims, he has nothing to fear. Tweedledee moves toward the fireplace. On the mantel, next to a picture of my grandfather, is an old, ornate wooden box. It was Grandpa's humidor. He kept his cigars in it. Now it just holds old fishing lures. Tweedledee picks it up. He looks at it. He glances at Eleanor. She gives him a tiny, almost imperceptible nod. This is it. This is the moment. He fumbles with the latch, his big, clumsy fingers making a show of it. He is preparing to discover whatever he has in his pocket. He is about to place a bag of something in that box and then hold it up like a trophy. I see it all playing out in slow motion. The accusation, the fake discovery, the call to the local sheriff, who is probably a friend of hers. The arrest, the story in the local paper. It is a neat little package. Clean, devastating. I let him open the box. I want the camera to see inside. I wanted to see that it is empty except for a few rusty fishing hooks. I wanted to see his hand go into his pocket. I wanted to see him pull out the little plastic baggie. It all happens exactly as I imagined. He pulls out the bag. It is filled with some kind of white powder. He's about to drop it into the box. He thumbs the bag open, and a dusting shakes loose. 2 white grains kiss the humidor lid. Grant's jaw knots. I don't blink. I let the camera see the lid clean, then stained, then his fingers hovering. The next frame will own him. He feels it too, that thud in the gut when a lie meets tape. His whole career as a professional bully has led to this moment. But then something happens that he does not expect. From the back bedroom, Clara's voice rings out, amplified by a small Bluetooth speaker we have on the counter. Okay, got it, she says, her voice crisp and clear. Subject 1, male, Caucasian, polo shirt, is now removing a foreign object from his right pocket. Object appears to be a plastic bag containing a white powdery substance. He is attempting to place it inside the wooden box on the mantel. We have a clear shot from camera 4 and camera 6. Audio is hot. The Attorney General is present as a witness. Tweedledee freezes. His hand hovers over the box, the little baggie clutched in his fingers. His face goes pale. He looks like a child caught with his hand in the cookie jar. He slowly turns his head and looks at the bookshelf. He cannot see the camera, but he knows it is there. He knows he just got caught red-handed. Eleanor's face is a storm of fury and panic. Her perfect plan is unraveling. The smug confidence is gone, replaced by the raw, ugly face of a cornered rat. She stares at the speaker on the counter, then toward the back bedroom. "What is this? What have you done?" she hisses. I allow myself a small smile. "It's called evidence, Eleanor," I say. "Something you know a lot about faking and nothing about collecting legally. You wanted an inspection? You got one." The trap did not just get set. It just snapped shut. And Eleanor and her boys are caught right in the middle of it. She thinks the jammer made her safe. But she did not count on us having our own network, our own witness, our own recording of the truth. She is still in my house, but she is no longer in control. And things are about to get a lot worse for her. Eleanor is sputtering. Her mind is racing, trying to find a way out of the box she built for herself. The two goons are frozen, looking at her for orders that are not coming. The baggie of planted evidence is still in Tweedledee's hand, a little white flag of his own stupidity. "You're bluffing," Eleanor finally says, but her voice lacks conviction. "Your systems are down. I made sure of it." I just shake my head. "You cut the power, Eleanor. You did not cut the batteries. You jammed the signal to the outside world. You did not jam the signal inside my house." From the back room, Clara's voice comes over the speaker again. Calm, methodical. Drone is prepped for launch. Roof hatches open. I'm going to try to get it above the jammer's effective ceiling. If I can get a signal out, even for a second, I can push the video stream. My heart beats a little faster. This is the next phase. Proving the crime is one thing. Getting that proof to the outside world is another. The blockade in the cove is not just for show. It is to keep us physically contained. Eleanor's eyes go wide. A drone? That's a violation of Article 9. No aerial photography without prior written approval from the Architectural Review Committee. I have to bite the inside of my cheek to keep from laughing. We are in the middle of a felony-level standoff, and she is quoting her HOA rule book. It is pathetic. It is also a glimpse into her mind. In her world, those rules are the ultimate power. She cannot comprehend a situation where they do not apply. I hear a faint whirring sound from above. The drone is launching. The quad pops into the wind and yaws hard. Clara kills Otto and flies through the gusts by hand. Fingers light, eyes flat. 480, 500, she calls. The image steadies. Boats, junction box. The man in a windbreaker yanking a cable. Packet path ready. If LTE is dead, we go HF. It is a small one, commercial grade, but Clara has modified it. It is faster, quieter, and has a much better camera than the factory model. It rises from a hidden hatch we built into the roof. It is our eye in the sky. I have a visual, Clara says through the speaker. I see the blockade boats. I see your car, Eleanor, parked right behind mine, blocking me in. I see one of your men standing by the junction box down the road. This is great stuff. Eleanor lunges for the speaker on the counter, as if smashing it will stop what is happening. I step in her way. I do not touch her. I just stand there. A wall. She stops. For the first time, I think she is actually afraid of me. Not of what I might do to her, but of who I am. The quiet man who just absorbs her attacks. The man who is always one step ahead. "Get that drone down," she shrieks. "That's private property." "It's flying over my property, Eleanor," I say. "And soon it will be over the public waterway of the lake. Nothing you can do about it." "I'm at 500 feet, Clara reports. The jamming signal is starting to break up. I'm getting a flicker of a connection. It's not stable enough for a data push. She sounds frustrated. The jammer is powerful. It is a bubble of silence that extends high into the air. Eleanor gets a smug look back on her face. "See? I think of everything. But we have a backup plan for the backup plan. That is how you survive." "Clara," I say, speaking toward the back room. "Go to plan B. Wake up Walt." A moment of silence. Then, "Copy that. Waking up Walt." Eleanor looks confused. "Who's Walt?" Before I can answer, a new voice crackles through the speaker. It is loud, full of static, and impossibly cheerful. "Neighbor Walt here. Call sign Kilo Echo 8 Tango Tango Bravo. The Oldham shack is up and running. What's the skinny big bear? You got trouble with the local den mother again?" Attorney General Grant looks completely bewildered. I give him a reassuring nod. Neighbor Walt is our secret weapon. He is a retired electrical engineer who lives 2 coves over, well outside the jammer's range. He is also a ham radio fanatic. His house looks like a porcupine of antennas. He can probably broadcast a signal to the moon if he wants to. Clara's voice comes back, clear and professional. "Walt, I have a compressed data packet for you, a video file. I'm going to transmit it on a secure high-frequency band. Can you catch it and mirror it to a secure email address I gave you? Can a duck swim? Walt's voice booms. You send it, I'll catch it. Let the digital pigeons fly. This is Rubber Ducky, preparing to receive the package. Over. Clara has found a loophole. It's a broadband sweeper, kills LTE, and police VHF and UHF. Walt's old-school HF packet cuts straight through. She can't send the live video directly, but she can send the recorded file of the evidence planting, the most important piece of the puzzle. Eleanor understands now. She understands what we are doing. She is not just losing control of the situation inside my cabin. She is losing control of the narrative. The story she worked so hard to build, the one where I am the bad guy, is about to be shattered. Her face is pale. The two goons look at each other. They are thugs, not masterminds. They are way out of their depth. Tweedledee looks at the baggie still in his hand and drops it on the floor as if it is on fire. Transmission sent, Clara says. A few seconds of static-filled silence. Then Walt's voice returns, triumphant. Package received, Big Bear. Clean and clear. Looks like you got some real prize-winning footage here. I'm sending it up the flagpole now. The eagle has left the nest. Over and out. Eleanor takes a step back. She looks at the door. She looks at me. The fight is gone from her eyes. All that is left is a cold, hard calculation. She knows she is caught. She knows the proof is out. The game is over. Or so she thinks. Because right at that moment, the world outside my window changes. The bright morning sun disappears. The sky turns a dark, bruised purple. A low rumble echoes across the lake. It is not the sound of a boat engine. It is the sound of thunder. The weather report said clear skies all day. The weather report was wrong. A storm is coming. A big one. And we are all trapped here in the middle of it. The game is not over. It just entered a whole new level of chaos. The first gust of wind hits the cabin like a fist. The old windows rattle in their frames. The cheerful chirping of neighbor Walt is replaced by the roar of the approaching storm. Outside, the calm lake is transforming. The water turns from smooth glass to a choppy, angry gray. White caps begin to appear, little teeth on the surface of the waves. Eleanor's face, which was pale with defeat a moment ago, now has a different kind of fear on it. She looks out the window at her blockade. Her 3 pontoon boats are designed for parties, not for tempests. They are flat-bottomed and top-heavy with big canopies that will act like sails in this wind. They are about to become death traps. My boats, she whispers, her voice barely audible over the wind. My men. Suddenly, she is not the queen of Lakeshore Pines anymore. She is just a woman who has put her people in a very dangerous situation. One of her goons, the one who tried to plant the evidence, runs to the broken doorway. We got to get out there. They're going to capsize, he yells. I look at Clara, who has emerged from the back room. Her face is grim. She holds a tablet showing the drone footage. The drone is struggling against the wind, but it is holding its position. On the screen, I can see the 3 pontoon boats getting battered by the waves. They are bucking like wild animals. I can see the men on board scrambling, trying to pull up the anchors, trying to get the engines started. They are panicking. Attorney General Grant looks at me. We have to help them, he says. It is not a question. It is a statement of fact. It does not matter who they are or what they have done. They are people, and they are in trouble. This is the line, the one between justice and revenge. Eleanor and her men came here to destroy me, to lie, to cheat, to steal my home and my freedom. It would be easy to stand here and watch the storm do my work for me. It would be easy to call it karma. But my grandfather did not raise me that way, and the men I served with did not teach me that way. You do not leave people behind. Ever. Clara, I say, get on the radio to Walt. Tell him to call the county sheriff and the Coast Guard. Tell them we have boats in distress in my cove. Give them the coordinates. On it, she says, turning back to the radio. I turn to Eleanor's 2 goons. Do you know how to handle a boat in rough water? They look at me, confused. The one who dropped the baggie just shakes his head. The other one puffs out his chest a little. I've driven a speedboat, he says. Close enough. You're with me, I tell him. You. I say to the other one. Stay here with the AG and the lady of the manor. I do not wait for an answer. I head for the back door, the one that leads down to my dock. My boat is there. It is not a fancy pontoon. It is a 20-year-old aluminum fishing boat with a deep V-hull designed for rough water. It is solid. It is dependable, just like my grandpa who bought it. As I pass the fireplace, I grab the wooden box, the one where they tried to plant the drugs. I dump the old fishing lures on the floor and take the box with me. It will make a good bailer. The wind and rain hit me as soon as I open the door. It is a physical force trying to push me back. The rain is coming down in sheets so hard it stings my face. The dock is slick and bucking under my feet. I can hear the roar of the waves crashing against the shore. I untie my boat, the goon fumbling to help me. I get the engine started on the second pull. It is a reliable old motor. It sputters to life, a comforting noise in the middle of the chaos. Get in, I yell over the storm. We push off from the dock and head out into the cove. The waves are bigger out here, maybe 3 or 4 feet high. They lift us up and slam us down. Spray flies over the bow, drenching us instantly. I look over at the closest pontoon boat. It is in serious trouble. A wave has crashed over its side, and it is sitting low in the water. The men on board are trying to bail with a cooler, but they are losing the fight. The boat is about to go down. I maneuver my little boat alongside them, a dangerous dance with the waves. Throw me a line, I shout. One of the men, his face white with terror, throws me a rope. My guy, the speedboat driver, manages to catch it and tie it off. We are connected. Get your people off that boat. I yell. Jump. Now, one by one, they jump into the churning water, and we haul them into my boat. They are cold, scared, and soaked to the bone. They are not tough guy compliance officers anymore. They are just 3 guys who almost drowned. We get the last one in just as their pontoon gives a final, groaning lurch and capsizes, its flat bottom turning up to the sky. It is a grim sight. Through the driving rain, I can see the other 2 boats. One of them is managing to pull up its anchor and is heading for the shore. The other is still struggling. Clara's voice crackles over the small waterproof radio I carry. Liam, the drone is still up. It's capturing all of this. Walt has a line open with the sheriff. They can hear everything. The Coast Guard is dispatching a cutter, but it's 20 minutes out. Copy that, I say. We have 3 men from the first boat. We're going after the second. We pull up next to the third pontoon. A body pinwheels off the third pontoon and vanishes. I throw the heaving line, lock it to my cleat, and lean until my shoulders burn. He breaks the surface, choking. We drag him over the rail, and the boat settles, ugly low. Water sloshes at our boots. I shove Grandpa's box into his hands. Bail or we sink. These guys are in better shape, but they are still terrified. We get them off their boat and into mine. Now my little fishing boat is dangerously overloaded with me, my goon-turned deckhand, and the 6 men we just pulled from the lake. We are sitting low in the water. We are moving slowly, carefully back toward the safety of my dock. Up at the cabin, I can see lights in the window. The power is back on. The man Eleanor sent to the junction box must have come back. The storm must have scared him more than Eleanor did. The siege is broken, not by lawyers or police, but by a force of nature. As we get closer to the shore, I see 2 figures come out of the cabin and run down to the dock. It is the Attorney General and the other goon. They are there to help us land, to help us pull the men out of the boat. And standing in the broken doorway of my cabin, watching it all, is Eleanor Vance, alone. Her pink polo is soaked and clinging, clipboard hanging like a broken crown. Her army is defeated. Her blockade is in ruins. Her plan has literally sunk. We just rescued the men she sent here to ruin me. And her own drone, our drone, the one she hated, recorded every second of it. The proof of her recklessness is now in the hands of the law. The storm is still raging, but for the first time in a long time, I can see a clear sky ahead. The adrenaline of the rescue fades, replaced by the damp chill of the storm. We are all crowded inside my cabin. The 7 men from the boats are wrapped in blankets, sipping hot coffee that Clara made. They are quiet, humbled. Their bravado has been washed away by the cold lake water. They sit on my floor, on my chairs, looking small and defeated. My compliance officer turned deckhand sits by himself, staring into his coffee cup. He looks like he is reevaluating all of his life choices at once. Attorney General Grant moves through the room with a quiet authority, taking names, getting brief statements. He is no longer just a witness. And in the middle of this strange, quiet scene, we get to work. Clara sets up her laptop on the pine table, the one where this whole day started. She connects it to the television, turning the screen into a monitor. It is time to lay out the case. It is time for the evidence montage. Let's start at the beginning, Clara says. She clicks a file. The screen flickers to life. It is security camera footage from 6 months ago. The video is time-stamped. It shows Eleanor Vance herself, in the dead of night, standing on my lawn with a can of weed killer, spraying a pattern into my grass. The next morning, I got a violation notice for turf blight. Click. A new video. It shows one of her goons, the one now sitting by my fireplace, loosening the bolts on my mailbox post. The next day, it fell over in a light breeze. I got a fine for failure to maintain property. Click. Video after video. Her men letting the air out of my boat trailer tires. Them turning on my garden hose and letting it run all night right before the water meters were read. A campaign of petty, relentless psychological warfare. All documented in high definition. The men in the room shift uncomfortably. Some of them were there. They are seeing their own actions played back. They look at Eleanor, who stands by the broken door, her arms crossed, her face a mask of stone. She will not give us the satisfaction of seeing her break. Next, Clara pulls up the documents. Exhibit A, she says, the lien. On the screen, 2 documents appear side by side. On the left is the forged lien filed with the county. On the right is a document I signed 10 years ago, a mortgage paper for my first car. Clara has forensic software. She isolates the signatures. She overlays them. They are a perfect match. Too perfect. A human signature is never identical, Clara explains to the room. There are always small variations. This isn't a forgery. It's a digital copy and paste. Amateur hour. She looks right at Eleanor. You got lazy. Then she brings up the financial records. A travel shredder sits half buried in Eleanor's tote by the door, blades still warm, paper dust freckling her cuffs. Clara zooms on the flecks clinging to the pink polo like dandruff of guilt. Document destruction in progress, she says, dead calm. Eleanor doesn't look. Her knuckles go white. A spreadsheet fills the screen. It shows the HOA's bank accounts. It shows the money coming in from dues and fines. And it shows the money going out. Thousands of dollars paid to a company called Lakeshore Beautification Services. Tens of thousands to another called Pinewood Environmental. These companies seemed suspicious, Clara says. So I did some digging. Click. The corporate registration documents for Lakeshore Beautification Services appear. The owner is listed as Eleanor Vance. Her personal home address is the business address. Click. The documents for Pinewood Environmental. The owner is listed as her husband. The men from the boats are staring at the screen. They paid those fees. They thought they were paying for community services, for landscaping, for keeping the lake clean. Now they see their money was going directly into Eleanor's pocket. They were not just her enforcers. They were her victims, too. The room is silent, except for the gentle hum of the laptop. The evidence is overwhelming. The conspiracy, the fraud, the racketeering, it is all laid out, clean and undeniable. We have her. We have the whole ugly story, from the first spray of weed killer to the forged lien. We have everything we need to put her away for a very long time. But there is still one piece missing. We have the what. We have the how. We have the who. But we do not have the final, irrefutable proof of her intent recorded in her own hand. We do not have the real books, the ones she keeps for herself, the ones that would show the full scale of the theft. We have a mountain of circumstantial evidence, a very strong case. But a smart lawyer might still be able to create doubt, to muddy the waters. The storm has almost passed. Soon, the sheriff and the Coast Guard will arrive. The official process will begin. Eleanor might be down, but she is not out. A real predator never is. They always have one last fight in them. As if on cue, one of the rescued men stands up. He is older than the others, with a kind, worried face. He has been watching the presentation with a growing horror. He is not a thug. He looks like an accountant. He is Martin Bellwether, the HOA treasurer. He looks at Eleanor, then at the attorney general, then at me. His hands are trembling. He has a choice to make. He can stay silent and go down with the ship, or he can save himself. The entire room holds its breath. Martin takes a deep, shaky breath. There's more, he says, his voice quiet but clear. She keeps a second ledger. A private one. On a thumb drive she keeps in her desk. Eleanor's eyes flash with pure murder. If looks could kill, Martin Bellwether would be a pile of ash on my floor. But he does not back down. He has made his choice. I know the password, he says. Eleanor steps toward him, chin high, voice low. Careful, Martin. I slide one boot forward just enough that she notices and stops. Grant lifts a palm without looking at me. Ms. Vance. Another inch, and it's witness tampering. Martin swallows, squares up. Password is Magnolia 61, he says. The final nail is not in the coffin yet, but Martin Bellwether just told us exactly where to find it. The trap is closing, and the last escape route is about to be sealed off. Martin Bellwether, the treasurer, is the key. His face is a mixture of fear and relief. The fear of Eleanor, who is staring daggers at him. The relief of someone who has been carrying a heavy secret and has finally put it down. He made the right choice. People like him, the ones who are not evil but are just too scared to stand up to it, are always the weak link in any conspiracy. The storm provided the chaos. Our rescue provided the moral clarity. He saw the difference between her world and ours. He chose us. Where is this thumb drive now? Attorney General Grant asks, his voice gentle. He knows how to handle a fragile witness. In her desk, Martin repeats. At her house. In the HOA office she set up in her sunroom. It's a red thumb drive. She calls it her real work. Eleanor lets out a sharp, bitter laugh. You have no right to go into my home. You have no warrant. She is technically correct, for now. Grant looks at me. He knows we are still in a delicate situation. The local sheriff is on his way, but he is an unknown factor. For all we know, he is a friend of Eleanor's. He might slow walk a warrant, giving her time to destroy the evidence. We need to secure that ledger. We need it now. But we have to do it by the book. My book, anyway. My mind goes back to the pile of documents Clara and I spent months collecting. The property records, the surveys, the deeds. Something tickles at the edge of my memory, a detail I had noticed but had not understood the importance of until this very moment. Clara, I say, my voice low and urgent, pull up the original property survey from 1960, the one my grandfather filed when he built this place. Clara's fingers fly across the keyboard. A yellowed, hand-drawn map appears on the screen. It shows the original property lines of the lots in this cove. My grandfather's careful, neat handwriting is in the corner. Now, I say, overlay the current county satellite map. Align it with the old permanent survey markers. The screen splits, the old map on one side, the crisp, modern satellite image on the other. Clara works her magic, dragging the satellite photo over the old map, stretching and resizing it until the key landmarks line up, the shape of the cove, the rock formation on the point, the old oak tree that still stands by the road. The lines snap into place. And then we all see it. The room goes completely silent. The property line is not where everyone thinks it is. Over the years, as records were digitized and properties changed hands, a mistake was made. A small error in a surveyor's office 60 years ago, compounded over time. The official maps are wrong. My property does not end at the small wooden fence that separates my land from Eleanor's. It extends another 30 feet. 30 feet that encompasses a very specific, very important piece of land. Eleanor's prized rose garden, the one she wins awards for, the one she uses as the backdrop for all her pictures in the community newsletter, the symbol of her perfect, orderly reign over Lakeshore Pines. And, more importantly, the land her sunroom is built on. The sunroom that serves as the HOA's official office. The sunroom that contains the desk with the red thumb drive. Eleanor stares at the screen. The color drains from her face. She knows what this means. It is all there. The original deed, the survey pins which are still in the ground if you know where to look. The proof is absolute, indisputable. Grant understands instantly. He looks at me, a slow smile spreading across his face. He turns to Eleanor. Ma'am, he says, his voice dripping with politeness. It appears your HOA office is built on Mr. O'Connell's private property. Since he has already rescinded any and all implied consent for you to be on his land, your presence there constitutes trespassing. He turns to me. Mr. O'Connell, as the legal owner of that land, do you grant me, as an agent of the state, permission to enter that structure and secure your property? My own smile feels like it could split my face. This is better than a warrant. This is poetry. Her own obsession with property lines and rules has become the weapon of her undoing. You have my full permission, Attorney General, I say. Please secure my property. Be my guest. Eleanor makes a strangled sound, a mix of a gasp and a sob. She lunges for the door. She is going to make a run for it. She's going to try to get to that thumb drive and destroy it. But her own goon, the one who stood by me in the boat, steps in her way. He does not touch her. He just stands there, blocking the exit. He looks at her, not with fear, but with pity. He has chosen his side, too. The game is over. The queen is trapped in a castle that is not even hers. All her power, all her rules, all her schemes have collapsed into this one simple, beautiful fact. She built her throne on stolen ground, and the rightful owner has just come to collect. The dawn breaks clear and cold. The storm has scrubbed the air clean. The lake is calm again, a sheet of gray glass reflecting the pale pink sky. The only ripples are the ones made by the boats. My fishing boat leads the way with me at the helm. Attorney General Grant sits beside me, a grimly determined look on his face. Behind us, a sheriff's department patrol boat follows, its lights off for now. 2 more boats from the AG's office are with them. They arrived in the middle of the night, professionals who know how to move quietly. This is not a raid. It is a legal, methodical seizure of property. My property. We round the point and Eleanor's house comes into view. It is a monster of a house, a modern glass and steel box that looms over the shoreline. It is twice the size of my humble cabin. It is a statement of wealth and power. And sitting right on the edge of it, jutting out over the perfect lawn, is the sunroom, the office, the place where the crimes were planned and the evidence is hidden. As we get closer, we see movement. Eleanor. She must have slipped out another door. She is running from her house, not toward the road, but toward her dock. She is making a break for it. Her boat is a sleek, powerful speedboat, the kind that can outrun almost anything on this lake. It is her last, desperate escape plan. She's running. I say into the radio. She's heading for her boat. Don't let her get away, Grant says, his voice tight. I push the throttle forward. My old fishing boat is not fast, but it is reliable. It cuts through the water, heading straight for her dock, trying to cut her off. The sheriff's boat roars to life, its powerful engines thundering across the quiet morning. Its blue and red lights begin to flash, painting the trees and the water in strobing colors. Sirens wail, shattering the peace of the new day. It is a beautiful sound. Eleanor reaches her boat. She fumbles with the cover, tearing it off. She jumps in, frantically trying to get the engine started. She is a cornered animal, acting purely on instinct. My boat is almost there. I can see the panic in her eyes. The engine of her speedboat catches. It roars to life, a high-pitched scream of power. She slams it into gear and takes off, leaving a huge wake behind her. But she is too late. The sheriff's boat is faster. It easily closes the distance, pulling alongside her. A deputy stands on the bow, a bullhorn in his hand. This is the sheriff's department. Cut your engine now. For a moment, it looks like Eleanor might try to outrun them, to make a foolhardy run for the open lake, but she is smart enough to know it is over. She cuts the engine. Her boat slows, settling into the water with a defeated sigh. She sits there, alone in her magnificent boat, as the law closes in around her. Our boats glide up to her dock. The AG and 2 of his agents step off. They walk up the perfectly manicured lawn, past the prize-winning rose bushes. They walk right up to the door of the sunroom. Grant turns and looks at me and gives a single, sharp nod. I nod back. This is it. This is the moment they open the door and go inside. Inside the sunroom, drawers sit weirdly clean. An agent taps the desk bottom. Hello. He pries the false panel free and fishes out a red thumb drive and a micro SD tucked under felt. 2 sets of books, he says. Grant nods once. The agent slides both into a Faraday pouch. No signals, no deletes. A few minutes later, one of the agents comes out. He is holding a small red thumb drive. He holds it up for Grant and for us to see, the smoking gun. The final piece of the puzzle, the ledger that will unwind her entire criminal enterprise. Back at my cabin, other deputies are leading Eleanor's goons out in handcuffs. The men from the boats, the ones we rescued, are giving their statements, eager to paint themselves as victims rather than accomplices. Martin Bellwether, the treasurer, is sitting with an investigator, talking, confessing, and saving his own skin. It is all happening at once. The collapse of a tiny empire. A swift, clean, and legal takedown. As the sun climbs higher in the sky, a tow truck arrives. It backs down Eleanor's long, paved driveway. Two men get out. They do not go to her car. They walk over to her prized rose garden, my rose garden. They have shovels. They begin to dig. They are not destroying the bushes. They are carefully removing them, preparing them for transplant. I made a deal with the local garden club. They can have the roses as long as they put them in the new community garden, the real one we are going to build with the money the state seizes from Eleanor's accounts. I watch as the deputies lead Eleanor away in handcuffs. She does not look at me. She does not look at anyone. She just stares straight ahead, her face a blank mask. The queen has been dethroned. The clipboard is gone. The rain is over. The sun is warm on my face. The lake is peaceful. The only sound is the gentle lapping of the water against the hull of my boat. It sounds like freedom. It is a few weeks later. The late summer sun is warm on my back. I am sitting on the edge of my dock, my bare feet dangling in the cool, clear water. The splintered frame of my front door has been replaced. The hole in the drywall is patched and painted. The cabin is quiet. The whole lake is quiet. It is a good kind of quiet, a peaceful quiet, not the tense, fearful silence that Eleanor Vance used to enforce. Clara comes out of the cabin and sits down next to me. She hands me a cold bottle of water. She leans her head on my shoulder. We do not need to say anything. We just sit and watch the light dance on the water. The old, corrupt HOA has been dissolved by order of the court. All of its bylaws, all of its ridiculous rules, are gone. Eleanor pleaded guilty. Faced with the mountain of evidence, the testimony of her own men, and the numbers on that little red thumb drive, she had no choice. She is going away for a long time. Her husband, too. Her house, the big glass box on the point, has a for sale sign on the lawn. The money from the sale will go to pay back the community, to repay every fake fine, every stolen dollar. A new homeowners association is being formed. This time it is being done the right way, with transparent rules and elected officials who want to serve the community, not rule it. I have been asked to be on the board. I said no. I have had enough of fighting. I just want to live. Neighbor Walt putters up to the dock in his small boat. He is not broadcasting on his ham radio today. He just has a fishing pole and a cooler. He cuts the engine and drifts in. "Morning, Liam, Clara," he says with a big, goofy grin. "Thought you might like this." He reaches into his cooler and pulls out a freshly baked apple pie. My wife made it. A thank you pie. He does not have to say what it is for. Everyone on the lake knows the story. We are not the outcasts anymore. We are the couple who fought back. The couple who brought the queen down. "Thanks, Walt," I say. "Looks delicious." He beams. "Well, the fish are calling my name. See you around." He starts his little motor and putters off, leaving a gentle wake behind him. I look at Clara and smile. Apple pie from a neighbor. It is such a simple thing, but it feels like the biggest victory of all. I look down the shoreline toward Eleanor's old property. The sunroom has been torn down. The prize-winning roses are gone, transplanted to the new community garden at the entrance to Lakeshore Pines. Where her office and her garden used to be, there is just grass. And in the middle of that grass, right on the property line, is a single, simple granite marker. It is about a foot tall. It marks the corner of my land. The true corner, as laid out by my grandfather's hand 60 years ago. It is not a wall. It is not a fence. It is just a line. A line between what is mine and what is not. A line that says, this far and no further. I came here looking for peace. I found a war instead. A different kind of war than the ones I fought before, but a war all the same. It was a fight for a piece of land, for a cabin built of wood and nails. But it was more than that. It was a fight for the memory of my grandfather. A fight for the idea that you cannot just take what is not yours. It was a fight to prove that a bully with a clipboard is no match for a man defending his home. I look out at the calm water, and I feel the anchor my grandfather told me about. This place, it holds me. It keeps me steady. The peace I was looking for was here all along.